Welcome back to They Did What, your source for the internet's craziest stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and on occasion, make fun of them. For today, we're doing part 2 of a story I did yesterday, which was titled, Me, a 34-year-old male, and my wife, of 5 years, who's a 32-year-old female. I know she's cheating on me. I can't bring myself to confront her. And for you guys that saw the video yesterday, real quick recap. This is about a guy who's married to his wife 5 years. And obviously, this guy was the classic nice guy that she settled with, a guy that was her platonic friend at first. And lo and behold, one day he discovers by certain pictures that were circulating on their TV, because their TV was somehow connected to her phone, there were pictures of her cheating. Pictures of her engaging in activities with other people, both men and women. And pretty much the video ended with him pretty much figuring out, how am I going to confront her? What am I going to do and all that? And now we're going to go into part 2 of this story. We're going to see when he does confront her and all the things that were going on behind the scenes, and we'll go from there. So it starts off, continues on saying, so lots to tell. First off, however, a few things. Before I wrote this, I didn't know what a red pill was. Now I do. I kind of wish I didn't, but a few dozen messages kind of made that happen. You know, those debt solution letters you get when you've known to the county to owe money? He wrote that wrong, so I can't really read that very well. That's how those things came in, fast and furious. Some others assured me that my throwaway, having the word red, and it meant that I was a sock puppet for them. I am not. I don't think they've got the solution that isn't worse than the problem it pretends to fix. He's obviously referring to his first story and all the comments and suggestion people's had. He says, well, what happened? I left the house that evening for a walk. She wasn't home and called around for lawyers. Very smart. It was pretty late already and I got a lot of voicemails, but one picked up. She asked me to get my financial statements and a lot of other things together and see her the next morning. I then decided to confront my wife that evening. That is great that he contacted a lawyer. That's all he can do to find out all his options in this situation. Because again, she's the one that's cheating, but it depends on your state where you live in terms of the divorce laws. Because some places it wouldn't make one bit of difference. But also, in the last video, he stated that she makes like double the income. So, that could entitle to him, depending how he's married to her 5 years, to have definitely some money, some alimony. But again, it depends where he lives. He says, that didn't happen. He didn't confront her. Big surprise there. This guy just didn't have the spine and the backbone, same thing, to speak his mind and confront her. But that didn't happen. She came home very late and disappeared to take a bath almost right away. I stuck in her office and took her phone out from the purse. I had a fingerprint scanner, but her PIN was the same as she uses for the garage and our safe, which she set up, so that was easy. There was nothing on the phone that I could find. Pictures and Apple Photos and Google Photos were all the things we've done together, and some from her job. No message or so either. Just as I wanted to put the phone back, her bag buzzed. She has another phone. How about that? That one is an Android and has a pattern, so I couldn't log in. But on the screen was a message, phone number only, no name, with a heart on it. So, interesting. And this phone isn't obviously a work phone, so it's obviously her affair phone. And she was obviously smart enough to cover up her tracks with the pictures and all that, because before he saw it on the TV, because there was a connection between her phone and the TV, and she obviously covered it up because he had left, and obviously she came home earlier and adjusted things, which you'll see in the other video. Put that back, decided to postpone confrontation until after the lawyer, but took a photo of the message. There you go. And yeah, he should definitely wait to talk to the lawyer before confronting the wife. The next morning, I talked to the lawyer, and she spent about half an hour to just go over every possible outcomes and what I can expect next. Then another 45 minutes later, talking about finances and so. We don't have any kids, and she's the big earner, so I stand to either be just out of the relationship or be out and owed some money. It'll be months, maybe even a year, until all this is dealt with. Takes 5 minutes to marry, a year to unmarry, it seems. That's a very good line. That's very much the truth. Yeah, she makes double the income of what he makes, so he should definitely be getting some alimony. But then again, with the division of assets, I like to see how that goes. But very good to hear they don't have any kids, because you don't need any kids being impacted by all this. That'd be really sad. He says, I walked by work and told my boss that I was sick. I look like shit from not sleeping and some crying, so that was pretty convincing. We work in food. Being sick is a bad idea at the job. I went home and I unplugged the Apple TV and took it to a friend who runs a small computer store. He confirmed what you told me. The pictures on the screensaver are from her Apple photos. He was also the first I told. Some of the things were kind of rambled together here, guys. He's also the first I told, and he immediately offered me to stay at his place with his wife and kids if I had to leave for a while. Then he called the number the text on my wife's other phone and came from and told me a guy named Rob had answered it. So, does this guy know a guy named Rob? I walked home and texted her if she'd be home for dinner. She texted back that she'd have to do some extra work and it could be late. So I told her to please make an exception and come home. I had important news. We've been looking for a house for a while. I figured she'd think I'd finally found one. Why the hell didn't this woman just simply divorce the guy instead of cheating on him? I mean, this guy obviously isn't exactly James Bond, but he's a human being and deserves to be treated with some decency because he's a good guy. But it's easier for her to just cheat on the guy. And it's not cool, and it goes both ways, for both men and women. And she obviously married him just to settle. Nothing more. She wasn't in love with him. Certainly wasn't drawn to him. Well, dinner came and went, and she didn't show. See all the lack of respect, the behind-the-scenes lack of respect, and the right out there in front of him lack of respect. She came home around 10 p.m. smelling of cigarettes. She was all happy and asked me what I wanted to talk about. So I asked her to sit down. I'm 99% to making something up about a house and avoid the confrontation. But then, I guess for the first time, I felt a little anger, so I told her. Well, good for you. It is about time that you stood up for yourself and didn't take her crap. I said, I know you've been cheating for a while now. I've been working with an attorney, and we'll have to talk about these things at some point. So now is a bad time for that as ever. Now listen to this. She didn't blow up and deny it. She just deflated and started to shake. A lot of PMs, my attorney, and my friend all told me not to press for details and not put that on me as well. But I really wanted to know, so I said, tell me about Rob. She told me they'd met through Ann, the friend on the couch with her, and Ann wanted to have you-know-what with him, and he had a crush on my wife. So they hatched a three-way action. I don't know any other way to put it. I'm trying to make it YouTube-friendly here. That was 14 months ago. 14 months this has been going on, and there was probably stuff going on before that. Apparently, they've since included Rob's wife. That's the mysterious fourth person who took the pictures. Who is polyamorous with that Rob guy? Oh, who is polyamorous with that Rob guy? The picture thing was solved too. She handed the wife her phone to take the few pictures and didn't remember the whole screen blanker thing. When she was at work, she uploaded them and deleted them from the phone. By chance, I'd seen them. She had the second phone for precisely the reasons I thought. As one that isn't our shared contact where I couldn't see the incoming and outgoing calls in my statement. This is really unfortunate. I mean, I feel bad for this guy. I mean, this guy obviously was clueless and has been clueless and doesn't have much of a backbone with his wife, but he's a good guy. She also, so listen to this. This isn't the only affair. She also had short affairs with other women and a few men. And in most of her weekend work things were actually her and Rob going on short trips together. This is terrible. But again, what did I tell you guys about settling? Now, does this mean that every woman that settles for a guy because the clock is ticking and they want to get married and have the house in the suburbs and the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids, does that mean they're all going to do this? Of course not. Unfortunately, there are those that will. So for the women that watch this, don't settle, okay? Don't do this to a guy. If you're not prepared to be a good, loyal wife and not do this type of crap, then you got no business getting married. And guys, you got to be aware there are those that will do this. And be aware for you guys that think that all of a sudden the girls like you. They didn't give you the time of day when you were a teenager, college, 20s, but now you're in your 30s. And now they're paying attention to you because you are making money and things like that. Be aware that some could just be wanting a guy that'll settle. Anyhow, a lot of cheating going on here. Through all this, it felt like she was giving me as much detail as she could in an effort to hurt me, and it worked, but I think I kept a pretty good poker face. Well, that had to be hard, but the guy, he had to do it. He had to confront her. I told her that I would leave the house, that I had photographed and cataloged everything, and was hoping for an amicable separation. She simply declined. declined. This goes to show you how obviously weak she thinks this guy is, that she could just have her way with him. She simply declined, told me she'd leave and take a hotel for the time being, and put her keys on the table. She packed a few things and left. That was it. As this one guy says, it was like the dentist. It hurt less than I thought, but it still hurt damn much. I bet it did. Today I have about 15 missed calls from her and 150 messages, all asking me for forgiveness and if we can make it work again. How on earth is it ever going to work again? After all this cheating that was going on and her disrespect and all these other things, it's not going to get better. She may feel bad for a little bit. Maybe she might be a little more giving in the sack for about a month. But eventually it'll go back to the same exact thing. And if he takes her back, she's going to respect him even less than what he did now because he put up with this, all right? And some people watch this and say, oh, go to counseling or talk to your pastor, talk to your family. No. That's nonsense. This is so much disrespect. It's destroyed. It's over. There are no kids there. Move on. End of story. And this guy definitely needs to learn how to man up a bit and stand up for himself and be a stronger of a guy. But also, she doesn't deserve a guy like this. She deserves to be on her own, alone, and she can go have all the fling she wants to till her heart's content. But no way. He says, I agree to meet her next week, but only to divide our possessions. As far as I'm concerned, this is over. Good for you, man. He's finally growing a pair. Good for him. Except for my one friend who no one knows yet, and I want to wait with making it public knowledge while I sort my stuff here and there and decide how to go from here. I might actually be hitting the gym, no intentions for a rebound relationship, and the rest we'll see. So there you go, guys. Crazy story. Guy comes home and look what he finds out. But point of this whole story is, aside from the crazy entertainment factor here, is that you got to be careful, okay? You got to pay attention to red flags, because he said flat out in his storytelling they weren't very romantic very often, and even that was the most boring vanilla type. What does that say, right? And again, how they were the BFFs before they actually got married, and she's the one that proposed to him, right? All these little things, but a lot of guys are just simply clueless and don't get it. And that's one of the things I try to help out when I do stories like this, is to point out little things along the way in these stories to help guys that may watch this video and help them along so they don't go through the type of suffering that a lot of these dudes, or in some cases, women go through in these types of videos. So, but anyhow, good for this guy for growing a pair. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be hurting for a long time, but he will survive. I'd recommend that he would most certainly join a gym, get himself in shape, working out. He'll feel a lot better, and just move on from her. End of story. And do not take her back under no circumstances. And work on becoming the stronger, better version of himself. And I would stay away from dating for a while until he started really figure things out. And down the road, if that's what he wants to go for in the future, although I wouldn't recommend it, I wouldn't recommend marriage, not in how things are today in 2021. At least then he will have learned a lot of things, and hopefully he's become much more wiser. So, but anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below and what you think about this. And guys, if you ever have a great story you'd like to share with me, by all means, email it to me. Make sure it's well written, and or provide the links to the story or article, and I'll certainly do it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.